Today we are interviewing Mrs. Judy Garbers, a retired Benton Community teacher.
Thank you, Colton. That was very nice.
What class did you like to read? What book did you like to read to your class?
Have any of you ever heard of Beverly Cleary? Ramona books? Yeah. Those were my favorites, and I think I probably read every one of them to the students. I loved her.
What was the biggest class you had?
How many have been in your class that's been the biggest class? You know how many's in your class? How many? 25. 1 year I had 32. And that was a big class.
What duty did you not like the most?
I'll just bet I could go up and down the halls right now and ask the teachers what duty they didn't like the most. Mine that I did not like the most was inside duty in the gym with all the noise.
What was your favorite activity to do with your students?
Well, I had a couple of them. One of them was when we did a Mother's Day party. I liked getting ready for the Mother's Day party, and it was a lot of fun. We made our own punch, we made our own treats, and the kids made their own gifts, and we put plants in them. So that was a lot of fun, having the mothers come in or a stand-in, whichever wanted to be here. Then I also loved reading to the kids, and I still do.
Without using name, what is the funniest thing that happened to you as a teacher?
Well, I don't even need to use any names for this one. I don't know whether it was funny or not, but 1 year, and guess what? My second grade classroom is right where you guys are right now. That's where I taught second grade. But 1 year, I came in and something smelled awful. It just reeked. And I couldn't get over it. I kept sniffing around. Finally, I went down and got the principal. His name was Mr. Sanderson. And he came down, and he was... And we looked, and we looked, and we looked, and finally he pinpointed it to my desk. And guess what? There was a dead bat in one of the drawers. So I don't know whether that's funny or not, but we finally got rid of the dead bat.
Could kids trade or share lunches when you taught?
Oh yes, definitely. And if somebody didn't eat all the food on their plate and somebody else wanted it, rather than throw it away, they could do that. Can you do that today? No. I figured probably not, but they could do it back then. Yes.
What grades did you teach?
Well, I taught second grade for 25 years. And then second grade went over to Van Horn Elementary. And the principal asked me if I wanted to stay in second grade, because I could go over to Van Horn, or if I wanted to move up a grade. And I chose to move up to third grade, not because I wanted to leave second grade, but because I didn't have to drive. I could still walk.
Where did your class go on field trips?
Oh, we went so many places. I know one of the places we went was, and I don't even remember, Wonder Bread maybe? They made bread. And that was really interesting, really interesting. And one trip was to a hospital, and another trip was to Quaker Oats and Pepsi Company. But I don't even know if they do field trips anymore. And we always got to go to the park to eat our lunch and come on home. Talking about field trips, one time we were coming home from Cedar Rapids, and there was a tornado warning. And we had to stop at, I called it a police station, because all of the kids here were down in the basement because of the tornado, and they wouldn't let us come home. So we stayed on the bus with all those second graders. I do remember that one.
Who teaches in the classrooms you used to teach in?
What's your teacher's name?
Miss Bridgewater.
What is it?
Miss Bridgewater.
Mrs. Bridgewater? Guess what? She did. Other than that, as far as second grade, I don't think anybody. I can't think of a soul that was in that room. I do know that Mrs. Logan taught fourth grade, and after they took second grade out, she went into that room. But I don't know anybody else.
What was your favorite lunch?
Chili and cinnamon rolls. Is that a pretty good one? Yeah, chili and cinnamon rolls. What's your favorite lunch?
Crispitos.
Crispitos.
What subject did you like to teach the best?
Well, I have two that were really my favorites. Reading. I liked teaching reading. That was one of my favorite things to do because I like to read to kids. Another one was called Writer's Workshop, and I'll bet you have that now, don't you? I liked Writer's Workshop. I used to make books for the kids and sew them together, and that was always fun.
How many years were you a teacher?
Sometimes maybe too many, suppose. I taught second grade for 25 years and third grade for 5 years. And even when I retired, I did substitute teaching, because I know I've had some of you guys. So I did substitute teaching, and that was a lot of fun. Haven't done it for a while, but someday I hope to get back to it.
Did you teach any of our parents?
I know I had yours. I had yours. Did I have yours? You're waving your hand. Yeah, raise your hand if you know I did. I had Kurt Paulson, Grant Valesky, Sarah, Colton Bosler.
And Jake Nevis.
I had your aunt. I didn't have your mom, but I had your aunt. I think that looks like it's about it.
All right. Colton has one more thing to say.
Do you have any more memories that you'd like to share with us today?
Well, let me think about that. When I started teaching, I walked into your classroom right now. The desks were, of course, were bare, and they were stacked on top of each other. There was only reading books and math books on the shelves. I had absolutely nothing to go by. But I had a principal named Mr. Andrews, and I know you guys don't remember him. This library right here is named after him because he was killed in an automobile accident. But I do remember him very, very well. And when he died, they got the principal from Blairstown came over. Then Mr. Sanderson. Do you guys remember Mr. Sanderson? Yeah, some of you probably do. And then guess what? Mrs. Bridgewater was my second grade student. Guess who else was? Mr. Junkie. Yeah, I even had Mr. Junkie as a second grade student, besides some of your parents. So those I do remember, and I remember well. And I always liked coming to school. Sometimes I had to polish a few halos, or maybe saw off a few horns, but I always liked my kids. They were always mine.
Thank you for coming today.
Thank you for having me.